Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod on this special day, 26th of May, the date we clinched the treble 21 years ago. I'm your host, TC. I'm joined by your co-host, Scott. Happy treble day, mate.
Oh, happy birthday to Matt Busby as well. Let's not forget that.
100%.
The original reason that the 26th of May was a special day.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, a great day for all United fans. We'll have a little chat about it at the end of the show. On today's show, we discuss the Odion, Ighalo and Angel Gomes situations, look at the latest Manchester United news and transfer rumours, before having a bit of a look back at that 1999 team and who from that squad would have alongside this current crop if we had the choice. Anyway, the Odion Ighalo situation is looking a bit bleak. As it stands, it looks like he might be going back to China in less than a week, Scott.
Yeah, completely. I'm actually a bit disappointed with this. I thought we were going to be able to get something over the line. That just doesn't look like it, does it?
It doesn't, Scott. I mean, it seems like they're playing hardball. It seems they're asking us to buy him outright for north of £20 million or send him back. I mean, the thing is, they're paying him so much cash. I mean, they're well within their rights to ask for him back, of course. I know us as a Premier League supporters, sometimes we sort of look down on other leagues, don't we? But they have got a contract with him. It was a loan agreement. We didn't have an option to extend it, and who could have known that this situation would happen? It's just such a shame for him if that last game, although he just scored an absolute belter, is going to be his last game. No fans, and he was expecting a few months and to try and win a contract, and that all goes out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it's a real shame because I think he's won a lot of us over with his passion for United, and you can only sort of look at the positive and just be thankful that he did get the chance to score at Old Trafford a couple of times, to score for United as more times than he probably thought he was going to ever be able to.
Yeah.
But you honestly have to look at this situation realistically. We signed him in January because Marcus Rashford fractured his back.
Yes.
And was going to be out for the rest of the season, and we needed a striker.
Yeah.
That isn't the case now. And I don't want the club to act in a way that makes us look like we don't appreciate what he did, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's played his last game for us.
Yeah, you're right. He was. I mean, we were scrambling around in January, weren't we, when Rashford got that quite bad injury? And you're right, he will be back now. It's just a worry, isn't it? That, of course, we went into the season with just the stable that we're going to be left with. Martial was injured for massive parts of the season. Rashford then was injured as well. It's not like they are sort of an injury-free pair there. And look, the stats are coming in that different people have different stats, of course, but there's apparently a 266% rise in injuries in the Bundesliga since it started back. Some other sources saying there's a 25% increase in injury potential in the Premier League because there's going to be so many games in such few days. And the worry is that we're going to be back to square one. It does seem like injuries are going to be coming more thick and fast than they were before. Zlatan's picked up an Achilles injury. João Felix has done his knee ligaments as well already. Marcus is just coming back, and I just worry. There might not be anything we can do about it. So, I mean, might be crying over spilt milk, but Ighalo, more than a goal every 90 minutes of football he's played for United. To me, it seems like a blow for the short term anyway.
Yeah, it does. But, it doesn't mean we don't have the capability to replace him in the summer, right? And I do really think that Dembele is on our radar.
Yeah.
But, I've got to take a step back sometimes and laugh because I remember when we signed him the end of January and everyone was screaming, saying, what are we doing? And what kind of signing is this? And now it comes time to it. And now we're getting, why aren't you signing him? Why aren't you making it a permanent deal? Why is it left in limbo, et cetera, et cetera? And in the meantime, in that middle part, no one's ever turned around and said, you know what, it's actually been a really good signing.
Yeah.
It's been a shrewd bit of business.
Yeah.
We only get slated for doing it, slated for not doing something right about it, but never credited in the middle. It made me laugh.
Yes, you're so right. It's historically that's always been the case, hasn't it? Yeah. I did say take the bull by the horns, didn't I, at the start?
I did too, yeah.
And we backed him. And you know what? It might still be rescued. The only thing is he was posting even more pictures today of him in his United gear. He seemed to be praying, singing along to some kind of gospel song on his way into the training ground. And I don't know. I hope he can see this time out at least. It doesn't seem like we want him permanently. Otherwise, we'd be trying to wrap that up, wouldn't we? Which opens the door, of course, to other strikers, and it looks like we have been fishing around. What do you think of these Josh King rumours that have returned? Of course, we put him in a bid, as Eddie Howe confirmed at the end of January. He has recently taken on Ollie's agent and friend, Jim Solbakken. Josh King's old agent's gone back to him. What do you think of those rumours, mate?
I actually think that they maybe could hold a bit of water.
Mm,
He's a good squad player, and one really important characteristic about Josh King is that he was trained by United for 6 years in between 15 and 21, so
of
he
course.
falls into the homegrown category.
Yeah.
And who knows that implementations might be made in the next couple of years in the Premier League to restrict squads to X amount of homegrown talent, and he would tick that box, wouldn't he?
He would. He would. And look, we've always had a soft spot, and I'm sure Ollie does as well, as he's a Norwegian. He said I think yesterday, that he wanted to play in the Champions League before he retires. He was quite adamant about it. Problem I've got is, he's 4 goals, 2 assists in 19 appearances this season. He obviously hit that top season, 16 goals in a season, but that was 3 seasons ago. He's hit 8 and 12 in the last 2. Those kind of stats, it's not doing it for me. He's not torn it up enough for a smaller team in Bournemouth to justify that. I put it this way: if he wasn't Norwegian, he wasn't ex-United, I don't think we'd be going anywhere near him.
Yeah.
If we looked at it through clear lens, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And also depends how expensive he's going to be.
Yeah.
Because at 5 million you do it, but at 25 million you wouldn't.
Well, yeah, transfer fees are going to be really weird and messed up, aren't they, this summer? Look, we've talked before about Timo Werner. Of course, he has a 52 million quid release clause. It does run out in the second week of June, so not so long to go. Do you see his hat-trick in a week?
I did, yeah. Pretty tasty.
Yeah, very good indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when I was looking at the comparison, look, he's got 30 goals in 38 appearances this season, and 19, 21, 21 in his last 3 before that, averaging 10 assists a season as well. He can play all the way across the front 3 as well, right, left, and up the centre. I would much rather us buy someone of that level to put pressure on Martial and the rest of them, and Rashford or whatever. Because the thing is, although we love Martial, although we love Rashford, neither, and Mason Greenwood, of course, none of them have actually nailed that place down, have they, for a long period of time? Yeah. Rashford had a great run there. Martial's had a great run there. Greenwood, I hope and pray, and I think he will hit the top in that forward position. But none of them have actually nailed it down. So instead of getting someone to back them up, I'd rather, we're talking about 99, of course, we had 4 strikers who'd all push each other in that team. I'd rather us get someone like that, or, as we've discussed before, Moussa Dembele, to really push and just create that competition up front, rather than knowing that someone's backing up.
Yeah, but we might not have that luxury now, and maybe a reason we're not being able to sign Ighalo is because it's going to cost 150 grand a week and 25 million pound fee that the Chinese club are wanting. So that might be a reason as well. And why would we bring someone to back up a striker who, you're right, I'm talking about Mason, hasn't grabbed a stage yet and hasn't been given the chance. And I really think that this next season and these next couple of seasons are really, really important for Mason. And I'd prefer us to strengthen other areas and help him succeed there, instead of just bringing someone else. He's got a challenge for place.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a case of we're going to go cheap on the centre forward, but then go big on a Sancho on the wing, then I'd accept that. But I do think we need to use this summer to really close that gap, like we did already with Bruno. It seems like we've got the cash, as we talked about, the cash reserves and the credit the other day, which other clubs don't have. And yeah, we've got to take advantage of this. Where we do strengthen the team, that's down to all in the coaching staff. But if we are going to get a centre forward in, I'd rather us get an Ighalo type. He's totally different to what we've got, rather than Josh King, which seems sort of like a sort of cheap imitation of what we already have, if you like. Although he is quite good in the air.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dembele's stats as well, that they as well blow King out the water: 22, 23, 16, 32 over the last 4 seasons. Well, that 32 was in Scotland, so we'll put an asterisk next to that. I'm getting used to these asterisks. I like them.
And the 20-somethings are in France as well, right?
Yes, yeah. And of course, Werner is in Germany, but he has scored a few in the Champions League too. We'll see with that.
Am I right in thinking that Werner's release clause goes down next summer as well? Goes down to like 36 million next summer?
I don't actually know that, Scott. I'm not sure. I know that on the 14th of June, I believe, it goes
Mhm.
this 52 million
Mhm.
quid. That's pounds. That's a
Mhm.
bargain, really, for Werner. But again, the transfer fees are going to be all over the show. So we'll see. Good news, though, it seems, with one of the players we've already got, Angel Gomes. Didn't see this one coming. Been a leak from a couple of people who seem to have good links in the academy system. Have been correct before, is saying that Angel Gomes is close to signing a new contract.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
No, that's news to me. Unbelievable.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Best news all day. Best news for months, TC.
It's not official yet. It's not
Unbelievable. Ah,
official yet, but
well, it's better than the murmurs I've been reading for 5 months. I'll tell you that much. I've been pulling my hair out here.
yeah, it's great news if it's the case. Of course, he's turning 20 this year. Look, he was a ball boy for United. He's been here since he was so young. He was the youngest player since Duncan Edwards to play for United, a 16-year-old. Can you believe he had his debut in the 16-17 season?
Unbelievable.
That's mad,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely mad. The thing is,
Yeah.
though, I was
Became
just
the first United player who was born in the 2000s to play for us, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But he's played 44 minutes in the Premier League since his
Yeah.
debut.
Yeah.
This season, had 6 appearances, 300 minutes, but about over 250 of them, around 250 of them in the Europa League. So if we are going to tie him down, if we are going to pay him 30k, we got to start playing him. I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Which is double good news because he's someone who's just so different. And I know you're a massive fan.
Oh.
I'd love to see him be backing up Bruno Fernandes and see what he's made of.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give him Jesse Lingard's spot in the squad right now, and let's see if we can get some money for Jesse Lingard because he to me is so much better than Jesse Lingard in more or less every, maybe not pressing, maybe not defensively, but I've always had the highest of hopes from him. He scored a goal. He was playing for the under-16s. He was playing this 5 or 6-a-side game, and he did a roulette to beat the keeper and go around the keeper. And I mean, I'd never seen it in my life before. I think I sent you the video back when we were still using Facebook to send videos. And I mean, this is fantastic news. But it's what you've been saying and what I've been agreeing with you is that I don't think we have a first team's 11 good enough that we can start putting youngsters in the team nowadays. It's not like back in the day when we would bring youngsters on when we're 2-3-0 up.
Yeah.
The last 20 minutes of games are either so tense for us or we're chasing them. So it's really hard to bring Angel Gomes on and give him minutes here and there when I don't think the first team is good enough to have the luxury of being able to blood a youngster in, if you know what I mean.
100%. It's a weird conundrum, isn't it? Because you would
Yeah.
think if your team is of a lesser standard, youngsters would be able to be blooded more. But exactly, we used to be sort of 3 and 4 goals up, and you'd put them on for 10, 20 minutes. They maybe snatch a goal or set one up
Yeah.
or have a shot or get some confidence going. And yeah, it's something that we have missed. But hopefully, I know, Ethan Laird, another one that we crow about in the academy, is called him the best player he's ever played with.
Yeah.
He says he's a little magician. He says he's just different level.
Mhm.
So let's hope Nanny's grandson.
Godson.
Grandson. Godson. Oh, dear me. He's done it again. Unbelievable.
Oh, I'm just glad you called him Angel Gomes today, not Angel Gomes or whatever.
Angel Gomes, Nanny's grandson.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
You've made my day,
Bloody
CC.
hell.
You've made my day. Yeah.
So yeah, really good news that, and let's hope that gets sealed because we were getting to the very very end there. Just like
Sweet
Teeth
bum
Chong,
time.
wasn't it? Teeth Chong,
Yeah.
we were thinking it was all going awry, and then he signed. So sometimes from the outside, well, often from the outside, you don't know exactly what's going on, but looks like Dean Henderson's loan is going to be extended, like we suggested. And he is going to go back to Sheffield United for the rest of the season. The right thing to do, surely.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a very similar call happening in the summer whenever that does happen to probably extend it for another year.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
If you're honest,
I would have thought so. Yeah.
One thing talking about goalkeepers that I did see that I really liked was that so Joel Pereira and a few others are coming back, and we're not enforcing that the other teams pay the rest of the loan fees, which I thought was really nice.
Absolutely. Hearts, Bolton, Burton Albion, Kieran O'Hara, another keeper as well on loan. 130k that we will be just waiving, which is again
Goodwill.
Yeah, good news. And also, it's three-pronged, isn't it? You also think that if we're giving up those fees, then we're not in such dire straits as some people will have you believe.
I just think that we're doing everything to get in the FA's good books to just try and get them to annul the season. Doing everything, 130 grand here, 50 grand.
But you know what? I must say, ever since we did get your mate, the PR guy, in, we have taken a turn for the better in terms of our club PR, haven't we?
Yeah, it's funny that Ed Woodward's face has been further away from the news, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's coincidental, is it?
No, no. More news that I think might be from the PR machine, really, because we've had it so many times. Le Sport from France have been saying that we are after Antero Enrique, the former PSG director of football, as a director of football.
Mhm.
And he is the guy who got Mbappe to PSG. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, does it? He was tearing it up at Monaco. He did help us actually sign Bruno Fernandes because he acts as sort of agent as well at the moment. So that's the latest name. Apparently, he'll be bring Corentin Tolisso from Bayern Munich with him if he did come. What do you reckon, mate? I mean,
Is Woodward still on the Eurostar?
it's almost like the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? I mean, how many times
Yeah.
they keep telling us about? How many names we've had? Rio Ferdinand, we've had Blooming van der Sar.
Darren Fletcher.
Oh, mate, we've had everyone,
Yeah.
haven't we?
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like whenever they mention director of football, it's almost one ear out the other. It's just like, really, is it going to happen? Because wasn't it a few weeks ago that they were saying that we want to get back to the Fergie model and give the manager more power? That's a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
So yeah, but that's again from the Sport. It seemed to be coming out with lots of stories recently about United. So again, we'll see with that. I'm not holding my breath on a director of football. That's one thing for sure. Look, centre backs wise, Chris Smalling apparently going to reduce the fee. Looks like Roma want to keep him. Looks like he wants to stay at Roma. Really, reduce the fee by about €5 million. Look, it's looking like Smalling might go. It's looking like Rojo might stay at Estudiantes. Phil Jones has been linked with a move away as well. One of the papers was saying we lodged a bid for Samuel and Titi for 27 million quid from Barca. They're happy to let him go for that fee. Do you see us getting a centre back in the summer, mate? I mean, it might be the autumn now. It looks like we might shed some of those reserve centre backs. Do you think we might do, or do you still think we might stick with Tuanzebe as a backup with and Bailly?
Well, I think we probably need 4 centre backs, right? So we got Maguire, Lindelof, Bailly, and Tuanzebe. And I mean, we do have a couple of other kids in the under 23s. Ted and Mengi's going to be pretty bloody good, and Deshaun Bernard's going to be pretty good too. But I can't see Phil Jones having. I mean, he doesn't play for us anyway. It's not as though we'd be replacing any minutes. I think honestly, if we could have got rid of him in the last window, we probably would have.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of the Titi rumour? Would you have him?
I don't know. Barcelona are begging to get rid of everyone, aren't they?
They really are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look, Tutto Sport have said that Pogba needs to drop his wage demands if he wants to go to Juve. It's not going to happen. It's they should really stop. The only thing I thought is that the only team who actually have got players who have a bit of saleability, really, and who would be willing to let them go is Barcelona. Could that be a late runner? Maybe a Griezmann for Pogba swap, something like that.
I don't think that when it comes Barcelona trying everything to cut costs, right? I don't think adding Paul Pogba to the to their lineup is aligning with those visions. I don't think it's correlating.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
It's like Real Madrid. You're reading they're trying to get rid of Bale, Rodriguez, a bunch of others. I can't even remember off the top of my head. And then they're saying, but they're still going to try and get Paul Pogba in. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but lots of stuff doesn't make sense. I mean, the Chinese league brought in a wage cap at the start of the year.
Yeah, that's never made sense.
And then they've said that they're going to really try and cut the costs with football. And apparently they're offering Ighalo 75 million quid for the next 3 years, I think it is.
Bargain.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Like literally unbelievable. So yeah, we again, it's the Pogba story rages on and on. I just love us to sort it one way or the other, Scott. I mean, I'd be well up for seeing Bruno and Pogba try and see if they can make an absolute world-beating partnership. But at the same time, I'd be happy if he really does still want to go to try and find a way to get him out. But it rumbles on and on.
I just hope that he's got the intelligence to, if nothing does come to fruition and he has to stay with us, that he just knuckles down and plays instead of just
Yeah,
looking like the kid who's stuck on the bus.
yeah,
I want him to knuckle down and actually play, because it's, if he's just gonna say, listen, if you can't sell me for 100 million, then I'm gonna play like I'm worth 20 million
oh,
and see if you can sell me for 20. Then it's a waste of everyone's time.
I know. And do you see Teddy Sheringham talk about
Yeah,
Pogba,
I did.
saying, "Look,
Yeah.
he's a class player, but when we are in the mire, we need someone to drag us out of it. He just doesn't step up." And the thing is he does have a
I mean,
point, doesn't he?
it's not true. Well, I mean, I watched a game, we were 2-0 down to City, that they were going to win the league if they won, and he almost single-handedly brought us back. I don't think you can make those
How
comments.
do you recognise him because of his blue hair?
Yeah, I did, but at least say he goes missing here and there. You can't say he never does it or this and that, because it's not true. I rewatched the Europa League final a couple of days ago,
Yeah,
and he was pretty good in that too. And I get that people want to criticize him because of this and that, but you can't start going that far and saying that.
yeah.
You know,
No, that's fair enough, Scott. No, that's a good balanced reply, actually. Look, I don't like the fact that sometimes he seems to sort of chuck the towel in
I don't either.
due to the way the game's going. But you're right, it's not something that hasn't happened. And you put a little smile on my face, mentioned the Europa League final. I know you say never win a bet, but I did have a cheeky one on him first goal there. So I just don't crow about my winnings, mate. I'm just a humble guy. So
Yeah. But honestly,
look,
credit where it's
go
due.
on.
Listen. I'll be the first to admit that he has been a disappointment. If
Yeah.
you're saying that he's a record signing and the world record transfer fee at the time, but don't start throwing things like that down.
Yeah, and Scott, I was looking at some of his highlights the other day, and when you look at when you remember the top level, look when Solskjaer first came in, bloody, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Pog was off the chain. He really was just unbelievable, and that is what upsets us, isn't it? That's what gets us down, because we know that level is obtainable for him. Look, if it was,
And how quick the on-off switch is.
I know.
It is just an on and off switch. It's unbelievable.
I know. But hopefully, Bruno will give him a lift as well and keep him in check.
Because Zlatan did it. Because when Zlatan was top dog, he was well behaved, if you want to say.
Yeah, we discussed this before, didn't we? You're spot on. Yeah, he really was. He kept him in line. Let's hope so, because if we did have Pogba and Bruno and maybe Jadon Sancho, I know Raphael Honigstein said that he thinks Dortmund will sell a big player this year, and he thinks it will be Sancho. And he is quite a respected journalist over in Germany. So hopefully, just on a side note, Chelsea are apparently looking at a replacement, because they don't think they're going to get Sancho. They're looking for Porto's Jesus Corona. Not with so many shirts with that, are they?
Jesus, Corona. Come on.
Would you get out?
God, get out of here.
So yeah.
But hang on a sec. But even before the pipe dream of what if we get Sancho, forget that we got Bruno, Pogba, Rashford, Martial, McTominay as well, and Dan James on the right. I mean, just for these, the last stretch of this season, you've got to be optimistic, right? And there's no transfer window before these next 12 games or 10 games, whatever it's going to be. So, just the fact that we're going to hopefully see those four playing together is good enough for me. I don't need Sancho added to the mix. Although he did make a sneaky cameo in that United-inspired video recently, didn't he?
He did. I mean, you sent that to me. What? Who edited that together?
Jesse Lingard posted it. It started with Axel Twanzebe, but then it went to Nathan Redmond. Hopefully he's not on the list. But then it went through basically the whole United team, and there was Sancho in the middle, worming his way into someone else's video.
Mate, as you mentioned already, putting Sancho on top of that already quite ominous attacking lineup would be brilliant. He looked quite good the other day when he came on, set up a goal.
You watching the game tonight?
Oh yeah, well actually, yeah.
Me too.
Buying Dortmund should be a good one, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, bit of fun. Look, we've had another kit leak. This time the away kit. Yeah, I can hear you laughing. Look, the away kit was the one last hope people had. They were doing mock-ups with a green with gold badge and whatnot, and now it's leaked out. It's as one of our followers actually on Instagram said, it seems like a sort of a silky snakeskin kind of material, and it's got sort of a camo pattern as well. So, what do you make of that, Scott?
I thought I'd seen the worst snakeskin shirt I'd ever seen this year with our beige number.
Is
It's
that is that like crocodile skin? I don't know. What's it?
it's gross. It's
Oh, it's
rotten,
horrible.
isn't it?
Yeah,
But come
awful.
on, man, what are they doing?
You know
What are they
what?
doing? If they just made normal kits, then they'd make the 22.5 million extra that we haven't qualified for the Champions League, and maybe they wouldn't have the hump with us so much.
Uh,
It feels like it's a vicious cycle.
Mate, the thing is at the moment they can't even do a plain shirt right, can they? I mean, look, this year we've got the black one. It's got that weird rose pattern in it. There's just no need for it. And they say, oh, it's because Lancashire the roses. Yeah, fantastic. Or we had it on our FA Cup final shirt once upon a time. And this, I don't know how they're going to explain away the army blooming pattern.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, TC. I mean, I'm all one for sentiment, but even the home shirt to have the numbers of the Champions League. I mean, that was 21 years ago today.
Yeah.
One of the best days of my life, the 90 and 93rd minute. But it doesn't need to. I think it cheapens Manchester United as a whole to put that on our home shirt.
Yeah.
I think you can put that on an away shirt or what have you, and to
It's
have
a gimmick, isn't it?
it is. It's gimmicky. I don't think I've said it before, but I think it cheapened our home kit, and it's nice because it's actually the nicest home kit we've had in a couple of years. But again, to have the black monochrome badge,
Yeah.
and again, it's being inspired from a shirt that we wore for one season, and it's not as though this is the 20th anniversary. This is the 21st anniversary.
Yeah.
So it was weird,
Yeah, I totally agree, Scott. It's just they're just faffing around with something that doesn't need to be faffed around with. It's so simple, and you look at all the kits throughout the 80s that Adidas made for us. They're gorgeous, lovely, simple shirts. And just look at what happens when they release a retro shirt. We all go bananas for it. You never see it
Yeah,
again. Sold
yeah,
out on the website. Sold out on the Adidas store. Look, if I had known that they'd be slinging out such rubbish for the next few years, I would have bought a blooming load of those tracksuits
yeah,
when they first came out.
yeah,
I can't blooming get my hands on them.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't get it, and I haven't met one United fan yet, and heard from one United fan on the Instagram or anything like that who has said, "Oh, you know what? They're doing a blinding job. The kits are great."
Yeah, it's funny when I didn't buy. Was it last year? That last year's the red and black number, and it was awful, right? But I remember the first time I saw it, someone wearing it, and I mean, I lived in Los Angeles. You very rarely see, a United shirt, but I was like, you know what? It's actually not that bad, and it is. It's terrible, but what just wasn't as bad as I had. You saw like Luke Shaw when he was wearing it, right? It looked
Yeah.
shocking, but it's actually it's all right. It's comforting to see that the people from Puma have been looking over the fence. Blimey!
They've wet the bed as well, haven't they?
Oh my gosh!
Dear me. Well, they got you got the old grandma design for the third kit,
Yeah, the Paisley.
cathedrals for the away kit,
Yeah,
and we'll see with the home kit. But yeah, I know that was welcome relief
yeah,
from just covering my eyes, and yeah, I
and
don't,
at least Arsenal's Adidas kit this year is a bit rough too,
yeah, I mean,
because it wound me up a bit more last season when they gave Arsenal, a set of normal kits, and we were wearing that red and black crap.
oh, I tell you what, and Juve's third is it's absolutely horrendous as well. Bloody Tiger King or something, unbelievable.
Oh.
Literally. But there you go. Anyway, back to an era when the shirts were absolutely blooming gorgeous and the football was too. As we said, it's the anniversary today of that magical treble win. And I was just going to say, Scott, if you could have two players from that 99 squad into now our current team, who'd you go for? I asked a question on Instagram, so we're getting a few answers back through on there. So send your answers in at United 100 Podcast. What do you reckon, mate?
I'd obviously have to go Paul Scholes in the middle.
I was going to say, you don't have to pick Scholes, or you can pick the players who
wait.
fit into the team. It's up to you.
No, I would cram him in somewhere. But is it the? But hang on a sec. You can get me on a technicality here. Do you want to do players who played in the final?
No. I won't.
Okay.
I won't do players that played in the final. Two players from that squad.
Well, you'd have to say probably Yap Stam, right? Because we have a big hole in our defence. But it's hard to go against either Roy Keane or Ryan Giggs. Oh God, I'm gonna probably go Roy Keane.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roy Keane and Paul Scholes.
Oh, I thought you said Yap Stam.
No, I'm gonna go Roy Keane and Paul Scholes. Yeah.
Good choice, mate. I mean, we did have someone pick that on Instagram. Look, I'd go for Keane and Stam personally. As you said, there is that big, powerful centre back. who can pretty much do everything. And Keane is almost in everyone's selection who's answered that. What about if it was just the starting lineup? Who'd you go for then? Because Keane and Scholesy are gone then.
Dennis Irwin played in the final.
Did indeed, yeah.
Yeah, probably go Dennis Irwin, Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, Irwin would solve a big problem on that left. Well, not a big problem, but he brings the experience, doesn't he, in that position,
Yeah.
and just solid as a rock would make that back four sensational.
And be a great teacher for Brandon Williams. Everyone would win.
Yeah, and as I've said before, I think Giggsy in modern day football would be out of this world as well. I know people start looking at his stats and say, oh, he didn't score that many goals, didn't get that many assists, but the truth is that he was more defending more than most of the modern day left backs do. So
hard to not put David Beckham in that though. Blimey.
You know what? I did have a good old think about Becks as well. Fill that right wing position. We've got so much pace in the team already. Him swinging those balls in, spraying passes around, and let's not forget, in the '99 season, Beckham was just sensational.
Not just that though, but just the feeling that whenever we'd get a free kick 35 yards to the goal, and everyone would get on their feet.
Yeah,
it was Beckham time, and that excitement and that. I mean, he rose to the big occasion time after time, and I'm really starting to hope that void that we've had for 20 years can be filled with Bruno Fernandes in his Deadpool deliveries and his big game, important match traits.
Well, he's already set one up from a corner against Chelsea and a free kick against City, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, indeed.
Bex could take a corner as well, couldn't he, Blumenau?
Yeah.
Although we did go a long stretch. I remember even back in those days, I used to moan about it, Scott. I used to say, but even with Beckham, we don't score enough corners. I was even saying it then.
But you know what, TC? When it mattered, 90th minute, 26th of May, 1999, he delivered one. And then 3 minutes later, he delivered another one.
Yeah.
And when it mattered, he stepped up. And, he doesn't get the credit he deserves being a United legend because he left under a cloud. But what a player he was, and what a man to the rise to the occasion. Don't forget England against Greece, that game. He scored the free kick in the 94th minute, whatever it was. He was a special player.
He was, and look, we really, as United fans, we love to rally around. We had an experience of it with Eric Cantona, a rally round a perceived bad guy, and Beckham. People forget how disgusting the behaviour was towards him at the start of that 98-99 season.
Vilified,
and he just rose to the occasion, rammed it all down their throats, could finish second in the Ballon d'Or. And I'll actually post on the Instagram stories later. There's a video from up high in the Nou Camp, and it's in between the first and the second goal, and we're singing "We Shall Not Be Moved." Then the mayhem when Solskjaer obviously pounces. I'll pop that on there. It's an absolutely magical watch. Just one more question for you, Scott, before we wrap it up. If you could choose one striker out of the four, Teddy, Ollie, Yorkie, or Cole, who do you have in the current team?
Tough question. I think you got to go Andy Cole.
Yeah?
Yeah, just that out-and-out number 9. Fantastic link-up play, but, Martial likes to drift wide. Dwight York would pull a lot of strings in there, but I do think we missed that absolutely clinical goal scorer, which obviously is Ollie Solskjaer as well, but out of the two, I'd probably have to go Andy Cole.
Yeah. I you know what, Andy Cole, I loved Andy Cole, but I'd edge Dwight York.
Yeah.
I'd edge Dwight York in there. Yeah, I loved his all-round play. He was superb in the 99 season, and now he's got rid of Jordan. He might be a bit more concentrated as well. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Get subscribed to 100% United Pod, wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, we're on Spotify too, if that's easier. Follow our Instagram at United100 Podcast. And if you've got an opinion on your 2 favourite players from 99 or the 2 players you think would fit this team the best, pop us a message on our stories. We'll be back on Monday next week. Until then, thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, TC.
Take care. Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.